Monday, 24th of May 2021. From East Lothian, this is The Weekly, with me, Jeremy Barr. Welcome to the programme on the week James Newman tried. He really did. I'm at the eastern terminus of the fabled John Muir Way, a 134-mile journey that will take you from here in Dunbar to Helensburgh, named after the so-called father of national parks. He spent much of his life preserving the wilderness in the United States and is primarily responsible for the creation of the Yosemite National Park in California. And it's from here that we're rounding up all the latest from across the pond. We start this week with this, a short film from a flat earther, because he kept flooding our inbox and we couldn't be arsed with having him disrupt the production team any longer.
Welcome to Circumstantial. I'm your host, Rufus. Now, I've been watching this weekly show and it's seen the truth, the real truth. It's never talked about. This Jeremy talks about politics and such like, but not once does he ever tell us what they're hiding from us, what they know to be the truth, the whole truth, enough about the truth. Now, this Jeremy is begrudgingly accepted for me to come on here and give you folks the education that is required. And I, in turn, have begrudgingly accepted initially. Now I see that the Lord is wanting me to ensure that I can save this Jeremy and your good selves from the clutch of these globetards. And that is why I'm here to tell you that the earth is flat. These scientifics and politicians will tell you that I'm crazy, but I ain't crazy. I am a reasonable, calm human being. I don't believe otherwise. I merely want to show the people the truth as God intended. So with me I have brought reasons as to why the earth is flat.
Alright, now take a looky here at this ruler. Now this is all in the metric system, which I can't read because I don't get it. The Lord gave us feet for a reason. Now I'm going to put it on the ground. Well, look at that. Just by putting the ruler on the ground, we can see right here that the earth is flat. If the earth was a circle, the ruler wouldn't touch the ground.
Cut back, scientists!
Clearly, though, that ain't enough proof for some of you globetards. So what I got here is definitive proof that will settle this once and for all. Take a look here at my pet cat Scruffy. Now he a cute wee fella. Look what happens when I drop him. As you can clearly see, the cat landed on their feet. As the Lord decreed within the Bible, cats always land on their feet. But the earth was round, they wouldn't be able to do that. They would just fall over. But that ain't the case. Why?
Because the earth is flat. And all these reasons of why the earth is flat. Now, I'd like to thank Jeremy begrudgingly for letting me come on here showing and tell you all why the earth is flat. I hope you check out my YouTube channel called Circumstantial, where in next week's episode I'll be telling you why dinosaur bones are actually unicorn bones and pixie bones and why they never made it onto the ark. And I'll give you a clue. It's because they're made by Satan!
If you believe he made any sort of sense at all, our top story tonight concerns you. Proposals for an intelligence filtering mechanism in state and federal US elections from next year have been tabled in Congress. And the mechanism is quite simple. You'll be asked whether you believe the earth is flat. If you tick yes, your ballot is counted separately from the rest and is given a weighting of 0.5 votes instead of the usual 1. Motion proposer, Majority Leader Steny Hoyer, added in her tabling of the bill that voters should have some basic level of intelligence and common sense as a minimum requirement to vote, but conceded that banning those who failed the test from voting outright would be unconstitutional. The GOP have slammed the bill, calling it gravely undemocratic and an attack on the values of simple, ignorant Americans who have the right to be taken seriously if they believe the earth to be actually flat. It is thought that a significant minority of the traditionally Republican voter base would be affected by the changes which, if approved, take effect from the midterm elections in 18 months' time. Now, let's head over to Florida, where Donald Trump can be heard from his Mar-a-Lago resort.
If you count the legal votes, I easily win.
We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election.
I've already decisively won many critical states, including massive victories in Florida.
The results tonight have been phenomenal. And
Yeah, he's still mad. It's been 202 days since the election, which, being absolutely 100% clear, he lost fair and square. The irony, of course, being that his team kept accusing Democrats of being sore losers because they didn't bow to his glory during his term in office. The man has never heard of accountability. And that's perhaps how we got here today, when a man can't accept that the good people of the United States of America have held him accountable for his actions. Let's move on to something a little more relaxing, and the topic of yoga. It's been banned in many state schools in the US for years. Yep, you heard that, banned. We couldn't make heads or tails of it either. The reason? It turns out there's some ultra-conservatives out there who believe the very practice of yoga is inherently religious, more specifically a form of prayer for Hindus and Buddhists. While it is true that yoga-like activities form a backbone for both faiths, you have to be stupid to accuse someone of betraying their actual faith because of how they wish to follow it. Take the traditional Christian form of prayer. It looks something a little bit like this. But why that pose? Why be so rigid about what the right way to pray even is? Why can't yoga be presented for a Christian audience? One bold elected rep from Alabama, Jeremy Gray, has found a way to break the religious barrier of sorts. This week, the state legislature approved a bill partially unbanning the teaching of yoga in its schools, but parents are required to acknowledge the link with Hinduism, which, I repeat, is really disingenuous and damaging to a large subset of American citizens. The disdain conservative lawmakers have for anyone who follows a different faith from their orthodoxy, and their unwillingness to actually open their minds just a little bit to the idea that activity doesn't equal prayer is, I can put my hands together like this and not pray, and I doubt conservatives will actually understand. Remind me to never rant again. Finally, tonight, we're fresh off the heels of the Eurovision Song Contest, which was won by Italy. But the attention isn't on the preparations for next year in Europe, but rather on the newly announced American Song Contest. It's identical format, just ported over to the United States. And we're hearing of a rapid escalation in tensions between a few states who are all hoping to win the prestigious honour of hosting the inaugural event. Texas, Nevada, California and New York State have publicly announced their intention to bid for the contest, which will see performers from all 50 states plus other US territories and DC battle it out to win Best Original Song. But the bidding process has already gotten nasty. Nevada has been described as the most uncouth place to ever host a contest, which AMERIVISION must never consider. California and New York have been accused of left-wing bias, unable to host a politically neutral event, while Texas is allegedly too hot an environment for contestants to compete safely. The war of words continues, and TNN will bring you further developments as they happen. John Muir died in 1914, but how well his message of conservation and preservation carried through the generations? With our ever more wasteful society continuing to pump crap into the oceans and the atmosphere, he must surely be turning in his grave to see a world where not enough people care about the idea that this world could literally kill us if we don't stop treating the environment with contempt. The weather forecast is next on TNN. I say goodnight. Well, I'd say goodnight, but well, we've run out of time. And now the TNN weather, and let's have a look at our summary for tomorrow. God will come and deliver the rapture, meaning thousands upon thousands will die. Those who are left behind will have to deal with COVID-infected rainfall and catastrophic winds. Let's have a look at the map for the morning. We expect sunny spells to start off the day, but we interrupt the weather for a news report. This is TNN Television from London. We're on the air this hour to bring you an important announcement from Muir Court Palace. It reads, "It is with grave sorrow that we today announce the passing of Her Royal Pawness, the Princess Fluffy, Duchess of Dunbar. She died peacefully overnight after a short illness." Muir Court Palace joins with people around the EH42 postcode area in mourning her passing. TNN Television is on the air bringing you a special programme reporting the death of the Princess Fluffy.